Hi there guys, so welcome to my video. Well, my office studio, it's finally finished at last. Well, it's only been about 5 months too late. Now what you can see here, this is actually a green screen, you probably realise that, because I don't want you to actually see the studio area quite yet. I'm going to unveil that towards the end of this video. Now a brief bit of history about how the studio came about. So we moved into this house in about 2019. And it was basically like stepping back into the 1970s, it just hadn't been touched. So Vanessa and I, we had to renovate everything, kind of bring it into the 21st century. But as people in the UK know, but you US guys might not know, houses in the UK can be quite small, especially when they're in the city. And I just didn't have enough room to have a dedicated home office to make my videos. In fact, my server and my desk, well, it was probably only about 15-20 feet away from the washing machine, and you come home from work, think, I'm going to make a video, and you walk over to the desk only to find out that the washing machine's on, and you look at the timer and see it's got another 1 hour 40 minutes. Not the best start to making a video. So having some dedicated space, well, that's going to be a godsend to me, and it's going to mean I'm going to be able to get some awesome content out to you guys, and I've got a whole load of exciting things planned that are going to be coming soon, but more about that later. Now we'd planned to do an extension for quite a long time, but due to the lockdown, well, it got delayed, and we started it at the beginning of this year. Now the contractors, they promised me, well, it'd be finished by the beginning of June, but contractors being contractors, they finished their bit by the end of September. Basically I tried to do as much as I could myself. Obviously I've no idea how to build up bricks and put a roof on, so I got them to build up all the walls, make it watertight, put the windows in, that kind of thing. And while they're doing that, I was running Cat 6 cables, HDMI cables, fibre HDMI cables, which are really cool, because the signal can go a real long way. I wanted to have some HDMI cables going in the main house, so I could display basically games consoles, the computer, on the living room TV, the bedroom TV, and in my office. And as chance would have it, it worked out and it all seemed to work, so that was great. So when the build was finished, all the wiring was in, all the electric was in, it was time for me to actually make the office and kind of make it how I wanted it to be and create the ultimate Space Invader mothership. Now I'd had a few ideas beforehand. Where I had my desk in the main house before, I'd customised a little area where I'd put the servers, and I'd made a small wall with kind of circuit boards on it, which I thought looked quite futuristic, and I had a monitor set in there. You can see a picture of that, probably up here.
Now obviously this wasn't my main monitor that I used every day. I really only used this for the Unraid terminal, or sometimes just spinning up an old VM like Windows 98 or Windows 95. But I think the main reason I didn't use it very much, one, it wasn't in a very good position, I couldn't see it well from my desk, and also it just was a bit small, being a 22-inch monitor.
Now actually, because the build went on longer than I thought, I actually changed my mind as how I was going to build the mothership. I stumbled across some really awesome channels on YouTube that were all about Star Wars room building, and the channels were the Smuggler's Room, Docking Bay 327 and the CR Artist. And what these guys were doing, well, it just really blew me away. I thought, I've really got to try and do this, but to be honest, I wasn't really sure if I could. I wouldn't say I'm the world's most skilled woodwork person, but I had to give it a go. So I really wanted to have a Death Star wall. I thought that just looked absolutely awesome, and I'd seen quite a few people on YouTube that had built them, so I thought I was going to have a go. So I bought some 6mm MDF and tried to cut the kind of ovals that you have in the Death Star wall using a jigsaw. It turned out okay, but some of them, they weren't quite the same shape as the others. So what I really needed was to have it CNC'd with a CNC machine. Now luckily I found a guy on eBay, a guy called Lee from Lee's Workshop, and he CNC'd out the panels that I need, popped them in the post to me, and I used those to build my wall. So I painted them up, lacquered them, and I was going to put some LEDs behind them, and I needed something to kind of diffuse the light so you can't see the LEDs in when it's turned on. So I got some Perspex from a local company, stuck that behind it, and the Death Star wall was done. So then I had to fill out the rest of the spaces that would be seen in the shot when I'm filming. So I wanted to actually change the door. But I just fitted a new oak door here, so I didn't want to ruin it. So what I did is I thought I'd cut out a piece of MDF, exactly the same size as the door, and then hang that on the front of the door Using those little kind of things you can put over the top of the door that you hang clothes on. I cut some little slots in the MDF to push the metal through, used 3 of them, and then I could hang the wood covering the whole front of the door, so then I could modify that and not affect the door at all. So on the front of the MDF, I vinyl wrapped it with hand solo. Now you may be able to see him a bit here, but you'll see it all better later when I unveil everything. So then it was time to do the other side. So I filled that out again with MDF, painted it the same colour, and then customised it up. I don't think there's any point really going on talking any more about it. I think it's just time for you guys to see the studio. So here it is. Okay, now I'm going to zoom the camera out a little. Oh, a bit more. And there we have it. So there's Han Solo that I was talking about earlier. And here's the Death Star wall. Now what I did, hang on, let me move the microphone out the way a bit, is all of the parts of the Death Star wall I put on piano hinges so it could kind of move. You can see this comes out. It's hitting the table at the moment, but that will come right out. And this part here will swing out as well, so I can get to the LEDs, actually, which I haven't fitted yet, but I'm planning on doing that. I want to use individually addressed LEDs, so I don't have to have the whole wall the same colour. I can kind of gradient the colour up and down. I think that should look pretty cool. Okay, if you see here, this is my Atari 800 XL, which is actually PF Sense. I stripped out all the parts inside of the old Atari and put some low power Intel CPU in there, and that runs PF Sense. And here, this PlayStation 1, actually that's a Wi-Fi access point, and that's my Wi-Fi in this side of the house. Now these here, they power the nuclear reactors of the Space Invader Mothership, of course, and these are made out of old circuits that friend of the channel Christian, thank you very much Christian for sending these to me. He collected these over a few months, various different circuit boards, sent me a whole big box of them, and I picked out the ones that I thought I liked the best and kind of made what I think is an interesting design there. Now behind me I covered this part with a bit of metal so I can kind of stick magnets on here and give myself little notes to remind me about things, but also I thought I could make control panels that I can actually stick on here with magnets, and I can kind of move them around and just make things look a bit different. Now here I've built in a screen, so I'm going to put on the screen now and show you what that looks like. Here I can display things like the channel logo and other logos of things that I'm going to be doing on the channel, which you're going to find out about later, but not right now. So let me pause the video, I'm going to put the screen on. Okay, so here at the moment you can see this is the PF Sense running in the Atari 800 there. In case I need to get to the screen, I've got that all covered. But also I can switch across, just one moment. And also I can run pretty cool animations like that. It just makes the backdrop look a lot nicer than having a green screen. So well, that's pretty much what the studio part looks like. Now I'm going to show you around the rest of the room so you can see what that looks like too. Well, I hope you think this bit looks good, and I'm looking forward to bringing you guys a whole bunch of really great videos, and I should be able to get them out a lot quicker than I have been able to before. Now I've got some dedicated space and I feel I can make something that looks, well, kind of half professional.
Okay, so let's take a look around the room. Now it's not a very big room, so let's start at the top end where we just were, where the backdrop for the studio is. We've already seen this, so I'm not going to really talk about it at all. Now on the door and window here, I've got smart blinds from IKEA, so I'm going to be able to control them with Home Assistant, which is really nice. Although I've recently scrapped my Home Assistant because I'm going to reset it up, starting from scratch and make a video all about doing it. I really want to get my Home Assistant really perfect. Over the last few months I've been buying loads of little bits and pieces for the system, things like radar detectors for presence detection, all sorts of Zigbee things from water detectors, motion sensors, switches, temperature sensors, you name it, I've probably got it. And I'm also going to be trying to tie my Home Assistant in with my solar and battery system to make the most of the energy that's being generated by the panels. So keep your eyes open for a whole bunch of Home Assistant videos. Now if you see the arcade cabinet in the corner here, well that's actually my server case. At the moment I've got my main server and a backup server in there, so again look out for some videos on that. I'll be setting up the server, mounting the motherboard, all the graphics cards, that kind of thing inside there, but also making sure that the actual arcade cabinet works as a retro gaming thing, all powered by a VM, which will be running that side of things. So now here's the gaming area. As you can see, there's a whole load of retro games consoles, as well as a couple of modern ones, and my Unraid server's running a gaming VM with a 3080 that's connected into this as well. The TV screen is a 120Hz OLED 55-inch TV by LG, and the monitor on the desk below it is a 49-inch G9 Samsung Odyssey. I managed to wall mount this, which is really cool, and the bracket didn't cost very much, but I did have to adjust it using an angle grinder to get it to work. Now up the top here's my network cabinet where I've got my network switches and stuff like that. I'm using this 4G LTE modem at the moment for my internet, because a new company in my area called Lilla Connect, they offer gigabit internet, 1000 up, 1000 down, and that's only $29.99 a month. It was meant to go live in August, but there have been delays and they now say it's going to go live in December, hence I'm using the 4G in the meantime. So here's an overhead view of the gaming area and the main desk again, with the server on the right, and across the other side of the room there's another desk. That one's height adjustable, so you can use it either sitting down or standing up, which is quite nice. But to the right of it is the most important thing, the coffee machine. Now I hate to think how many cups of coffee I've drunk while editing this video. It's a whole load. So well, that's my little office studio. I really love it. It's been real hard work making it, but it's so worth it because I'm going to be able to make so many more videos now with this dedicated space where I can just work and not be disturbed. Anyway guys, that's it. That brings me to the end of the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please share the video if you think you know someone who might like it as well. Now a really big thank you to all of my patrons and supporters. Thanks guys for supporting me, I really appreciate it. Anyway guys, it's time for me to go now, but whatever you're up to for the rest of the day, I hope it's good, and I'll catch you in the next video.